Welcome back to Action Figure Obsession. It's me, your old pal, Avian and Loaded, and I think this is episode 112. I'll fix that in post if I'm wrong about that, but I think that's what it is. And what you see before you here are the primary characters from my Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. display. You'll notice that I am missing Agent Phil Coulson from the TV series and the first Avengers movie. I think that figure was based on his appearance in the first movie. But guess what? I stupidly sold that off a long time ago, my Phil Coulson figure. So this is, he really would be perfect in this lineup too. But these are my main guys, as we say. And thought I'd give you a little rundown here. Shield, by the way, was a Nick Fury and his Howling Commandos. They fought in World War II, and then in the 1960s, Jack Kirby and possibly some involvement from Stan Lee created a thing called Shield. I forget what Shield stands for, but it doesn't matter because it changes every decade or so anyway. But Shield is kind of a UN peacekeeping force in its original iteration. I think it was supposed to be international. Kind of like G.I. Joe and A Real American Hero, the 80s cartoon, which was actually based on S.H.I.E.L.D. The original concept was S.H.I.E.L.D. versus Hydra. Then Hasbro asked Marvel if they had any ideas of what they could do with the G.I. Joe property, and they said, yeah, we got this S.H.I.E.L.D. versus Hydra thing. We'll just change it to G.I. Joe versus Cobra, and that really is actually where G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero, came from. Some of these are kit bashes. Some of them are just the actual figure. So let's go over them real quick here. This first one is Daisy Johnson, I believe was her name, at least on the TV show in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Originally known as Skye, but later on her true identity came out. And she, I believe, in the TV show was an Inhuman. I'm not sure where her powers come from in the comics. It could be that she is an Inhuman in the comics as well. But her power that she has difficulty controlling is to generate earthquakes. Her code name is Quake, and that is why she has these sort of steel gauntlets on to somehow insulate her from the destructive effects of her superpower. Now, Quake was an interesting figure. It came out about, I'm going to say, 3 or 4 years ago. Despite the fact that it was a double figure in that you could create one or one look or another look for the figure in the box, it didn't sell as well as I would have expected. Maybe because it's a female figure, I'm not sure why. But the Quake figure came with swappable heads and hands to turn Quake into Nick Fury's number 2, at least in the movies, Maria Hill, and in some of the comics too, I think. So this is the same body, the same figure, same exact figure. This came in a Quake box, and all I did was take the Quake head and hands off and popped on the Maria Hill gear, the head and the hands. And as you can see, and remove the gauntlets. Those silver gauntlets are removable. So you pull off the hands, and then you slide off the gauntlets, and you can replace them with just the regular white gloves. And there are white painted gloves underneath, as you can see a little bit there. You can kind of see a little bit of the white sticking out on the top of her right forearm there, our left. But anyway, yeah, so that's Quake. Those two are just stock out of the box, basic figures, and they eventually went to Ollie's for $10 each, and I think I bought 6 or 7 of them. And I do have a few extra female S.H.I.E.L.D. agents in my display using those bodies. And I have a ton of the heads, hands, and gauntlets in my fodder bin because, when I buy them and I put a different head on them, then I've got 2 leftover heads, a Maria Hill and a Quake head. So I got a lot of heads and hands and stuff. And the figure also came with the worst pistol in the line, I think. I might show it to you here in a minute, but at least it's the one with the silencer, so it doesn't make it look quite as bad. Now, about 3 years ago, Hasbro released a Marvel Legends 3-pack that included Nick Fury Jr. and Sharon Carter, Agent 13, 2 of them there together, and Dum Dum Dugan. Now, Dum Dum Dugan the body for him was actually this body, and this is the head for Dum Dum Dugan. Dum Dum Dugan is one of the Howling Commandos that Nick Fury fought with in World War II, who works with him in S.H.I.E.L.D. And what I did was, I didn't really like wasting a heroic muscular nail shield body for Dum Dum Dugan, because I always thought, and I have nothing against the character, but it didn't seem like this was his body type. So I put him on the Hammerhead body here, and I think that he looks pretty good with his brown bowler and his pinstripe suit. And I gave the Flash Thompson unmasked head from the Agent Venom figure. I put that on the Dum Dum Dugan body in the S.H.I.E.L.D. 3-pack, and he is my Clay Quartermain, who is an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. in the comics. I don't think he was ever on the TV show, but Clay Quartermain definitely was one of the agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. in the comics for a long, long time. Then, of course, I told you about Dum Dum Dugan. He was a Kit Bash, and he does not have the Hammerhead hands, which are kind of tiny and also have brass knuckles on the left hand. Actually gave him the trigger figure hands from the Walgreens exclusive Sentry action figure, because they're a little oversized, and I feel Dum Dum Dugan is a little oversized. He's a bigger guy. And also, the weapon that I gave him is one of the pistols from that ridiculous $50 John Wick Marvel or Diamond Select John Wick figure that I talked about the other day. And that pistol has quite a wide grip, so these Sentry hands actually work really well with it for my Kit Bashed Dum Dum Dugan. Then we have the guy who started it all, Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., Colonel Fury, General Fury. Call him anything you want, just don't call him late for breakfast. And this is actually, as you can see, so the actual Nick Fury body in the 2-pack, which I have Nick Fury Jr. on here, has a blue neck that goes all the way up, and then you just put the head on. The Dum Dum Dugan body had a Caucasian skin color neck, as you can see there. So this Nick Fury, in the 3-pack out of the box, it's Nick Fury Jr., Nick's son. So this is actually, I bought two of the 3-packs, I should say. So this Nick Fury in uniform is actually the Dum Dum Dugan body, whereas this is the Nick Fury body, which makes sense that Nick Jr. and Sr. would share a body. And it's just a matter of it making sense with the skin tones. So Nick Fury, my Nick Fury Sr. is on the Dum Dum Dugan, what is in the 3-pack, the Dum Dum Dugan body. But of course, they're hoping people bought multiples of the 3-pack and can make up all sorts of their own S.H.I.E.L.D. agents, which, as you'll see in a second, I definitely did that. I wish I had bought more than 2 of the 3-pack, because they really are wonderful figures, and they did a hell of a job on them. Really, really nice job. Here's Maria Hill, often the second in command at S.H.I.E.L.D., both on the TV show and in the comics for a while there. We talked about her already and how she and Quake share the same body right out of the box. And then we have Nick Fury Jr., who is the son of the World War II Nick Fury, and who, weirdly, at one point in the comics, suffered a tragic accident that left him with exactly the same injury as his dad. That's right, they're both missing their left eye. And there's a circuitous reason for that, which is that, when they did the Ultimates comic in the early 2000s, artist Brian Hitch and writer Mark Miller decided that Nick Fury should be based, even though Nick Fury had been played in a TV movie by David Hasselhoff, and I think if you kind of squint, you can see a little of the Hoff in this Nick Fury face. But they, in the comics, portrayed Nick Fury as looking like Samuel L. Jackson, and also acting like Samuel L. Jackson usually does in the movies. And Samuel L. Jackson was so flattered by that eventually he actually became Nick Fury in the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies, which is how that happened. So then in the comics, they wanted to have it, keep up with the movies. So they created Nick Fury Jr. in the comics, who looks a little like Samuel L. Jackson, but not a lot, because he's not supposed to be Samuel L. Jackson like he was in the Ultimates comic. But he is the son of Nick Fury Sr., Nick Fury Jr. here, and I think he has run Shield from time to time as well. And then we have the couple of the year here, number one in our hearts, number one on the charts. We have Agent 13, Sharon Carter, in her Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. gear, which is basically a repaint of the 60 Years Avengers Beyond Earth's Mightiest Black Widow superposable body. So this is one of the best female bodies that Hasbro has. I'm not wild about the cutouts that they painted onto the shoulders. Those aren't even sculpted. They just painted like flesh-colored ovals on the top part of her, like her deltoid. But the skin tone isn't a terrible mismatch, and it doesn't look terrible. So I just wish they hadn't done that, because this body would be a lot more useful without that particular aspect of it, if it was just a white, jumpsuit or whatever. But they did what they did. So this is my Sharon Carter, and next to her is my Commander Rogers, and this is the Commander Rogers figure from 2022 or 2023, the one that had the pretty terrible head sculpt and hair. And I put the Captain America 20 Years of Marvel unmasked Steve Rogers head on this one, and I think it looks a lot better than it did out of the box. And then he's carrying my second prototype shield that I painted a couple of weeks back. That originally was the shield that came with the Stan Lee action figure that had Stan Lee's autograph on the shield, which I take as a terrible insult to the memory of Jack Kirby. Because Stan Lee had nothing to do with the creation of Captain America, and it's absurd that he would have his autograph on a Captain America shield, so I like this shield a lot better, just painted silver as a prototype sort of shield. Next we have Agent Gabe Jones, who is a Kit Bash. He is using the Nick Fury body and the head from the Blue Marvel figure, which sculptor Paul Harding actually told me once at a convention. That head was meant to do double duty as either Blue Marvel or King T'Challa of Wakanda, the Black Panther. The Black Panther and Blue Marvel figures both came out around the same time. So if you happen to have that Blue Marvel figure and you have a head laying around from it and you want to put that on a Black Panther, I think it's A-okay with the guy that sculpted it. It's certainly A-okay with me. I just think that he makes a great Gabe Jones, who was another one of the Howling Commandos in the Nick Fury mythology. Finally, another Avengers 60 Years Beyond Earth's Mightiest figure, the actual original of this white jumpsuit body. Same body, just different paint job. This is the 60 Years Black Widow, the superposable Target exclusive Black Widow, and it is not Natasha Romanoff, it is Yelena Belova, and she has the head from the retro Invisible Woman, the one that was so hated and despised that most people who bought that figure put a different Sue Storm or Sue Richards head on that body. And I did that too. I put the Walgreens exclusive Susan Storm head on my retro, my retro Invisible Woman. Kind of blanked out there for a second. Need more caffeine. But I think, see, the thing is, even though this head doesn't work for Susan Richards, Sue Storm, the Invisible Woman, I think it works great for Yelena Belova because she looks vaguely Eastern European, kind of Russian, Eurasian. And I think that this head actually makes for a fairly attractive, and you can tell me if I'm wrong. I know the paint on this head is a little wonky and a little weird. I think the sculpt is okay, but the paint could have been better. But I think as a Yelena Belova, I think she works okay. And that's that little tiny pistol that they gave like Everett Ross without the silencer. This one has a silencer sculpted on, or a suppressor, I should say. I really don't like that gun, but I don't mind using it with the suppressor because it gives it, that added length, and it doesn't look super terrible. It looks so tiny and ridiculous. I have a whole section in one of my fodder bins that's nothing but that stupid pistol, and it's got some nice detail on it and stuff. It's just not as good as the stuff that I've got, in my collection from Valverse and Mezco and whoever else. And so this is my Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. From left to right, we have Quake, and we have Clay Quartermain, and we have Dum Dum Dugan, and we have Nick Fury Sr., we have Maria Hill, we have Nick Fury Jr., we have Agent 13, Sharon Carter, we have Commander Rogers, we have Gabe Jones, and we have the Yelena Belova Black Widow working with S.H.I.E.L.D. And I do have one other S.H.I.E.L.D., well, actually I have two. I have that Nick Fury from the Gamerverse 2-pack with the Punisher. Those are on the same shelf as these guys, but in a separate area of it. It's a little sort of Punisher subset. And I do love that Nick Fury, but I didn't think to grab him. But this one was already on the work table, and that is my 1960s Super Spy Nick Fury. That is on the MCU Matt Murdock No Way Home body. The best suited body so far that Hasbro and Marvel Legends have released. It stands up well, it's stable, it's well proportioned, and same head, because I told you I bought two of the Nick Furies. As you might not be able to tell because of perspective, but the Nick Fury in his Shield uniform is actually maybe like a quarter of an inch taller. I'm going to blame it on the boots. About a quarter of an inch taller than this Nick Fury. And I actually, in my Jack Kirby Thousand Oaks shelf display, I have another Super Spy Nick Fury figure that is on the Everett Ross body with the head from the Nick Fury / Shield Agent body that came out around, I don't know, 2014 or 2015. It's not the greatest Nick Fury head, but, you know, these two heads are my favorite Nick Fury head. I think that they did a hell of a job. I don't know if this was Paul Harding or who it was that sculpted this face, but it does capture the character of Nick Fury, the toughness, the grisliness, the gruffness, but also the intelligence and the passion and the commitment and the determination. And he doesn't have a hole in his mouth like the one that came in the 2-pack with the Punisher, so that's nice. That's a whole other thing. I don't know. There had to be a better way to do that. But anyway, so yeah, I'll put him over here in the corner. So that's my, these are, I would say, the primary guys in my Shield display. As I say, I do have some Commander Rogers bodies with other heads and some more Quake bodies with other heads. So there is stuff sort of padding out my my Shield display. But at the end of the day, these are the main guys. These are the guys I would grab if I ever had to leave the house and not come back. I do love this this little collection of Shield people. I think they're really cool. I think that Hasbro has shown some love to Shield over the years, because even though most of the ones here that are kit bashes are just kit bashed from stuff that was already Shield adjacent to begin with. You know, the only major kit bash is the Dum Dum Dugan, and I just dig him in that hammerhead body with his brown bowler and his big oversized hands and his big oversized gun. I mean, to me, that says Dum Dum Dugan. You know, you may think otherwise, who knows? If you have these characters and you have any thoughts on S.H.I.E.L.D., let me know in the comments. Any questions or anything that you would like to share, always welcome your comments. And I think that's going to do it for this look at my S.H.I.E.L.D. collection, or at least most of my S.H.I.E.L.D. collection. I appreciate you stopping by for this action figure obsession video. Please like, comment, subscribe, share, ring the notification bell when you do subscribe so you find out whenever I upload anything new. And I think that will do it. I will see you on the next action figure obsession.